To set up a Tasmota plug, you need to go to your Wi-Fi and you should see a Tasmota network. Now that network is the plug, so what we need to do is connect to that plug. So you want to sign in. So we're now connected to the plug. Now I want it to connect to my 2.4 Wi-Fi. Now I've been organised and saved my password in here. I click save. What that will do is connect it to my network, or try to. Okay, I need to remember 192.168.1.131 because we're finished with the phone now. So we can go to the computer, put in the IP address that we remembered, and there's the Tasmota plug. So what we can do is, to prove that, if I switch off, you can see the light goes off, and if I switch on, the light goes on. Now you could use the plug just like this and go to the browser and switch things on and off quite happily, it's not a problem, but we should do some things to make it add to Home Assistant, to update it and do all the things we need. Okay, so the first one is a firmware upgrade. This was shipped to me on Tasmota 12.2. So if we go firmware upgrade, and I'm going to use OTA upgrade, which means I just need to press start upgrade, and it will go away and say I'm going to download the upgrade and pull the upgrade down to the device. And the best thing to do now is just leave it, and it will quite happily do the upgrade all by itself. Why do we do upgrades? Well, security issues, new features, all sorts of things like that. It's always a good idea to keep them up to date. Now what it actually does, as you can see, it hasn't got enough memory to upgrade directly, so it goes down to a minimal release that hasn't got half the stuff, and then what it does is puts the full release on it. So if we wait, eventually it'll come back. Now what we're going to have to do is do a refresh in a few minutes, but we'll hold on and I'll pause the video. There we go, I did a refresh. If you look now, it's on 14.3, which as of the start of November is the latest version of Tasmota. So we've done an upgrade. So your Tasmota device is quite happily sitting on your network. No security on it, no nothing. So if somebody wanted to, they could go and switch off your devices. So the first thing we're going to do is add a password. Well, that's in configure other, and all we have to do is put something in here we're going to remember, and it needs to be secure. We also need to tick this box, so I'll do that now. PASSWORD. That's not a good password because people could guess it, but we'll go for that now. We'll click save. I don't want it to save the password. Let's go back here, and it's come up and said username and password. Well, the username is admin and the password is what you typed in. So we've got some security on here, but it's actually called Tasmota. So we can go in and go configuration, configure other, and give it a better name. Now I'm going to call it I'm going to call it message underscore lamp, and I'm going to give it the friendly name of message underscore lamp as well. Click save, and it will say restart in a few seconds. It's called message lamp. So let's add our new Tasmota plug to Home Assistant. So we need to go into configuration, configure MQTT. Now, you need to be organised when you do Home Assistant, especially with things like MQTT. So you need to know some things. So we need to know the IP address of where Home Assistant is. This is one I prepared earlier. We'll paste that in there. We also are going to need to know the username and the password that we set up, and then I'm going to click save. Still don't want to save the password, and hopefully the device will restart. There we go. So it's now connected to Tasmota. So it's now connected to Home Assistant, or should be. So if we go into Home Assistant, it doesn't appear here because it's not quite been added yet. So if we go into settings, devices and services, and configure MQTT. Do you want to configure Home Assistant to connect to the MQTT broker provided by the add-on? So that's what we did earlier. So I'm going to click on submit and click finish. If you've got really good eyes, you've noticed that you should now see Tasmota has popped up. So if we click configure, I want to set up Tasmota, yes. It's actually found a lamp already, so I'm just going to click finish, and you can see message lamps appeared. So I can switch it on and off, and you can see what's happening with power wise. I think there's something a little bit wrong with it because it's not 323 volts. I'll have a check of that in a minute, but for now that's the end of this video. We've added the plug to Home Assistant. Right, do you promise not to bark? Not to bark when the video's recording? Is that what you're going to do? Oh, you're going away to bark now?